Hogwarts Legacy is a drop-dead gorgeous game. The art direction makes me feel like I'm in an illustrated copy of the books, and the attention to detail is just astounding. Every nook and cranny has some kind of little piece of clutter or fine detail you can only really see and appreciate if you slow down and just take everything in. I was truly staggered to see that the majority of the paintings are actually animated. I mean, the amount of work that would have taken is insane, and it really paid off. The suits of armor have little animations too, not just them. All over, you'll find little animated set pieces that make the world feel full of life. And the NPCs too are bustling and going about their lives, interacting with the world, and it makes the world feel like it's really lived in. It's all these little details, like the glow on the end of your wand being different based on what spell you just cast, that complete this world. This was the first game I've ever played where I was asking, can I not go through that door? Because nearly every building I've come across has had an interior. And again, the art direction is impeccable. One thing I didn't expect to love was that each window is opaque. In Hogwarts, every window is beautiful stained glass that fills each room with a warm, bright glow. And in Hogsmeade at night, the windows glow yellow and white, and walking down the streets just makes you feel like you're in a painting, and it's a sight to behold. What I've seen in the countryside is just as fantastical. I've through the Forbidden Forest, and my lord, is it every bit as creepy and imposing as the films made it out to be, and more. Because this is a Warner Brothers game, they have the liberty to use things from the movies, so small things like the sound of Lumos and the effects from the pensive stay consistent with what we've seen, and it makes it feel like you're in the same universe or continuity as the films, instead of making it feel like it's a disjointed one-off thing. It also means when you're walking around the school, you're going to be going, I've seen that before, at familiar sites, and during my exploration, I unintentionally almost directly recreated shots from the films while just going about my day. And that feeling was unlike anything I've ever experienced before in a game. Because this is a game, and the creators weren't tethered by the confines of reality and the limitations of film, they could do just so much more, and be much more creative. So this Hogwarts feels more like a fantastical magic castle than its film counterpart ever did, and it also feels more like a real place. So anyone who's ever watched or read Harry Potter and wanted to visit the Wizarding World, they'll find it here, and it's begging to be explored. However, you'll merely be an interloper. All this magnificent set dressing is just that, set dressing. It's the same critical failing that many open world games have. It presents you with this fantastic world, but all you can do is walk around in it. The Witcher 3, one of the most highly regarded RPGs of all time, had the same problem. It's stunningly beautiful, but that beauty is merely surface level, like an e-girl. The world of The Witcher 3 is gorgeous and full of things to see and do as Geralt, but at the end of the day, after a long hunt or round of questing, you can't just visit the tavern or go home to Corvo Bianco, sit down, have a drink, have a meal, or relax. Red Dead Redemption 2 was another game kind of like that. It has a vast, beautiful world, but other than at camp, you couldn't kick back and just be and take it in. I downloaded a mod that lets you use the NPC idle points around the game world, and it truly changed the way I played and roleplayed as Arthur. I started taking things slowly instead of just booking it from objective to objective, and that way of playing seems to be more in line with how Rockstar designed the game, and with how Arthur would likely behave. Playing like this gave me an even greater appreciation of the world that Rockstar crafted, all its small details, from the writing on bottles and cans to animal and NPC behavior. It all just became more apparent. I think it's best said by Todd Howard and his approach to game design. He says that his goal in making a game is to allow players to live another life in another world. And I think that in open world games, especially open world RPGs, is what players want. I still remember playing Skyrim back on my Xbox 360. I made a library in my house, and I just remember sitting down, listening to my bard play, and just reading all the books I collected, and sitting at the top of my tower and watching the sunset. It's something I'll never forget because of what an amazing, even foundational experience playing that game was. It was exactly what Todd was going for. I was living another life in another world. I firmly believe that a setting is just as much a character in the story as the people who inhabit it, and there's no better way to experience a setting than to live in it. I fell in love with Tamriel because of my experiences exploring and living in that world. And through the movies and the books, I fell in love with Hogwarts and the Wizarding World. And like all fans, I've fantasized about being in that world. Hogwarts Legacy provides fans with that opportunity. However, the way it is now does a disservice to the beautiful realization of J.K. Rowling's world the devs created. The character doesn't really help this either. The actual character creation itself and role playing elements feel lackluster. You aren't given much to work with to make your character unique, and the dialogue choices don't really do much to change the story either. The story I've played so far has been relatively linear, but that's not a bad thing. It's compelling and actually feels like it could have been J.K. Rowling's unwritten prequel tale. But the shallow character creation makes the protagonist the weakest part. I think the game would have benefited from a named protagonist with a better defined backstory, similar to V in Cyberpunk, where you don't create who they are, but how they are as a person and what they look like. Other than some scripted dialogue from certain characters that reference you, NPCs don't react to anything you do while you explore, making you feel invisible as you walk around the school. The NPCs, like everything else, are just set dressing. Very good set dressing, but set dressing nonetheless. Even though the protagonist has dynamic voice lines during quests and some points of exploration, they don't react when NPCs do talk to them, and it sucks. And then there's the total lack of free roam mini games and activities. The common rooms embody the best and worst aspects of the game. They're each unique, exquisitely detailed, and bustling with life and energy, but you can't hang out there. Other than the outpost, there isn't anything for you in your dorm. You can't even sleep, neither do NPCs. After dark, they just disappear, even in the common rooms where they should be, and it just leaves the entire castle all but deserted. I really do enjoy the room of requirements, but it has the unfortunate byproduct of making the common rooms even more pointless. They could have been a place for you to relax, deposit loot, replenish your stocks, interact with your housemates, and so on. But no. Hogwarts Legacy is undoubtedly a great game, with a compelling story and satisfying gameplay. But when you slow down, the cracks form, the immersion slips away, and you feel like you're alone in a very pretty, but no less desolate wasteland. The fact that it is such a great game with such a beautiful setting is what makes that so depressing to say. Thank you all for watching. Like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you like my other stuff as well. And I hope to see you next time.